Hello.
Hi.
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 Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Hey, Kelly.
Hi.
Um, I'm here with Brandy. We're
Hey,
setting up for her first trunk show, so if you see us moving around, that's what we're doing.
I like it. Multitasking. That's a
Yeah.
great segue into time mastery, right? Like, how can we listen to a
Yeah.
training call and nope, I like it. I like it. That's awesome. Good luck. When's the show?
Okay, just letting you know. Tomorrow. It's
Tomorrow.
her first trunk show. It's her launch.
Yay! You're gonna rock it. I love it. Good. Okay, no, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys are here. We'll give it a couple more minutes. And for any of you guys that are on and need to know how to mute, I'm going to tell you. There's a little button on the bottom left that says mute my audio. If you want to hit that, if you have any background noise, I can still see your smiling faces. So, all of us, I love how we're all rocking like no makeup, glasses, sweatshirts. I did have my orange one on from last week, but I thought I might change it to kind of like spice it up a little bit, right? I'm getting texts, I'm eating dinner, I'm doing this. I'm like, that's what this is all about, right? So I love it. I love it. Okay, give me 1 second. I just want to make sure we have no technical difficulties on here and we will be off and running. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I'm like, we don't need to watch the Grammys right now, and we need to channel our inner Beyonce, right? Like, we have the same hours in the day that Beyonce does. So what are we going to do to make it happen? So, okay, so this is Zoom week 3. So I know there's some faces that have, I like Courtney showing me that she's pouring herself another glass of wine, as you should be, my friend, as you should. So no, thank you guys so much for joining me. And I have to say, we had a great call last week. It was a small group, and one of the major things was like, I want to book more shows. I want to sponsor more stylists. I want to increase my sales, but I don't have enough time. Like, I don't have enough time in the day to do any of this stuff. So what is it that I can do to buy back my time, or, have more hours in the day to make it happen so we can get more from our business, right? And so one of the things that I think is so crucial for all of us to know is that we all wear many hats, right? So whether you're a stay-at-home mom, like whether you are a college student, whether you work a corporate job, whatever it is like we all do a lot of things, right? And I like to say that busy is, is a word that describes every single person. So I like to say I have a full plate, right? And so with my full plate, I've done this business for almost 7 years. I've done it as a hobbyist, just like many of you new stylists that signed up and were like, I love the jewelry, I want more. I've done it full time. I've done it alongside a corporate job. I've done it pregnant. I've done it in every way, shape, and form there is. And I will tell you, I keep coming back for more. So there's something about it, the awesome sauce and the drinking the Kool-Aid. But one of the things I'll say is that I have an 8-year-old and I have a 5-year-old, and I work for LinkedIn. I run their relationship management for Texas. And so there's a lot. We're building a new home. It's kind of crazy at times. And sometimes I just want to like throw in the towel and give up on everything, but it's worth it. Right. And so what does that look like? And how have I been able to balance? I think is such a crucial word, because everything in life is never 50-50, right? You're never 100% great mom and 50% great mom, 50% great wife, right? Or you're never stellar at your corporate career and stellar at everything. We all have to kind of have that give and take. And so I think time mastery versus management, right? It's learning how to master the hours in the day and the time that you have to give, right? So don't look at it as this, all these time management courses that are out there and all these different things about how you can get more time. You can't, right? We're all given the same amount of time. So how can we master that? And what it looks like for, I'm just looking at the names on the screen right now, for Kim or for Brooke or for Courtney, it all looks different, right? Everyone's life is designed differently, and that's what makes us us. And that's what makes us, one tribe too, is that we can learn and grow from each other. So one of the things I'll say is that, I kind of have bucketed. So I've done a couple time mastery calls over the years, and I kind of did kind of a bucket tonight of like my top tips. And so I've kind of categorized it to help you guys. So if you're taking notes, you're like, this might speak to me more, or this might speak to me better, then I got you covered, right? So none of this is proof positive, except for the fact that I've tried it and it's either worked or it hasn't, but you don't know until you try, right? And so I think the first thing is that we have this quest for perfection, right? Like, let's be honest, whether it's, Pinterest made me do it and I had to like do the, Etsy Valentine's pizza hearts and doodle pages for my kids, or have to have this fancy Valentine's dinner or whatever it is. We all want to be perfect, right? What we do, we want to be good at it. And I think that quest for perfection tries to equate to that life balance. And how do we make it happen? How do we have it all? And what does that look like? And I think that time mastery is something that's an evolution, right? At the end of the day, what works for you right now is not going to work for you 6 months from now, or maybe a week from now, but it's learning how you can constantly evolve it. So the first thing I'll say is that you can do anything, but not everything. Right? Let's be honest. Like, we want to do everything, but we can't. And it's not humanly possible, because otherwise our lifespan would be 35, right? And I'm 35. So I should be dead by now if we could do everything. We can't. So I think the biggest thing is, it's the hardest word for me to say in life is no, right? No. How do you say no? How do you say no to personal, things? How do you say no to professional things? How do you learn what's important, and how do you learn what's not? And I can tell you a list of a million different things for me that I have learned very slowly over the years to say no to. But for me, like, one of the examples is like at work, if it's not high visibility for me that I'm interacting with the right folks, I'm not, doing something that's going to benefit my career in the long run, then I say no, right? If it's just something that's just hey, Kelly, do you mind picking up the pieces? I did that. I've done that for 15 years. Now I really put it through that filter of, what does this benefit to me? And what does that look like, right? What's the cost of my time that it's going to take away? With kids, people would say, when Cooper was in kindergarten, he's now in second grade, Kelly, will you volunteer and serve ice cream for the lunches? And I'd be like, sure, absolutely. And then I realized Cooper's lunch is 30 minutes of 6 other lunches. And I only saw my kid for 30 minutes. So now when it comes to anything with the kids, if I'm not present, then I say no. Because at the end of the day, me cutting stuff in a workroom is no value add to my children. And that's why I'm doing it, right? So putting it through that filter and saying, like, what are the things that I can learn how to say no to? And no in a very like productive way, not in a negative way. And I think everything I do now when I'm looking at, is it a yes or a no, is I put it through a dollars per hour filter. Like, is this going to make me money, or is this going to bring me joy, right? Is this something that is going to be a benefit, or is this something I just feel obligated to? So always putting it through that filter is really important. And you guys may have heard me say this, you may have heard this in the world before, but HVACs, right? Those high value activities. And what do those high value activities look like for you as a stylist? It's booking trunk shows. It's doing trunk shows. It's having sponsoring conversations. I think the biggest HVAC in our business is booking, right? Because we know that a trunk show leads to everything we need, right? Whether it's virtual, whether it's in person, it is the gateway is a great word to everything else you need. Another trunk show, a potential stylist, more sales, more contacts, all of that comes from a trunk show. So that's an HVAC, right? Facebook is not an HVAC. I hate to tell you that. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Facebook is not a high value activity. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Okay, number 2. This is not my strong suit. So I'm raising my left hand, raising my right hand. And the truth is, get up early. I can't do it. I'm not a morning person. I hate it. I see Courtney's face. She's like, ugh, that's the worst thing you've ever said to me, Kelly Wenzel. But what if you challenge yourself 2 days a week, right? I know there's a lot of people that like New Year's resolutions, get up and go work out. What if you got up earlier, just twice a week, right? Twice a week, and challenged yourself to invest in your business, invest in you, right? Because your business doesn't exist without you. So what if you said like, I'm kind of like roll out at like 7. What if I said, okay, I'm just going to push it to 6 and I'm just going to wake up, an hour early, 2 days a week, and I'm going to hit the ground running. I may be a little bit tired, may have to go to bed early, but at the end of the day, what if you challenge yourself to do that, right? Like, who knows what could happen, but I guarantee you the most successful people in the world get up early. Can't guarantee you that I'm one of them, but I really strive hard sometimes to make it happen. Okay, so with getting up early, there is a book that I absolutely adore. And if you've been around for a while, you'll know it's one of my favorites, called Eat That Frog. And eating that frog means that you are going to do the thing that you least like to do first thing in the morning, right? So maybe it is those, planting those seeds and warming up people to book. Maybe it's, listening to a playback of a call, whatever it is. Maybe it's going to work out. Like whatever this is for you, it correlates to your still and not business or professional life or personal life. But eat that frog. Do the thing you least want to do first, because then everything else that you're checking off your list for the rest of the day is a piece of cake, right? Like you've done the thing that's that boulder that's in the middle of your life that you can't get past. And once you get that boulder, guess what happens? That gravel becomes so much easier to scrape away. So I challenge you, if you have not read that, it is a quick, easy, like literally less than $10 on Amazon read, and it will be a game changer for you. And then on the flip side of the waking up early is to go to bed. Like we're not getting any older, right? We need more sleep. We're grumpy. We got a lot on our plate, right? We have that full plate. Is saying like same thing. Maybe a couple nights a week, I don't stay up till midnight, right? Like nothing really productive actually happens from 10 till midnight. Let's be honest. So what if I actually challenged myself to go to bed? What if I turned off the TV and I got good sleep, right? So those are kind of the high level stuff. So let's get a little bit granular. Number 3 is be in the moment. It's a hard thing to do, right? When you are wearing many hats in life, how are you going to be in the moment? And, if you are a mom out there, there's a great read called Hands-Free Mama. It's a blog, it's a book. She's got a great story, but I think it's something that's a great message that correlates to every part of life, and the fact of like when you're doing something, be there. Like we are so touched by technology everywhere. I go upstairs tonight, my kids are in the shower and they have their iPads sitting on the corner of a shower. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like we are so just enamored with technology and we're always connected. So what if you pull back, right? What if you say like, when I'm at a trunk show, I'm at a trunk show. I'm not worrying about anything else but the hostess, the guests, and how I'm going to move the dial forward in my business. Just like the thing is like if you are coaching a stylist, like being in the moment, giving yourself right now the 20 minutes of like not multitasking, even though we'll give Brooke and them a total like get out of jail free card because you're prepping for your first trunk show 100%. But giving yourself that time, right? Investing in you and saying like, I'm here and this is what I'm doing. Professionally, personally, be in the moment. And I think focusing on what you're doing makes you more productive. It makes you more intent. It makes you more joyful, and it makes you have less room for error. And I think that's the biggest thing. When we struggle with time, it's because we're trying to do too many things, right? And so, it's going to make commitments to have date nights with your husband. It's making commitments to hang out with your girlfriends, or make sure you call your mom every other day, or whatever that looks like. It's being, having that, being intentional with what you're doing with your time and being present, right? Because you can be intentional, but still in 100 different places, but being present is the key. And then, you've maybe heard this one before too, but it's one of my favorites, is that we juggle a lot of balls, right? Like we all have so much going on, but how do we differentiate which are the glass ones and which are the rubber ones, right? When you're juggling those balls and a rubber ball drops, it's okay. It's going to bounce back tomorrow. But when you have a glass ball and it's going to shatter, that's the HVAC. That's the one you have to do. So how do you prioritize your life? What does that look like, right? And that question is different for every single one of you. But knowing that we juggle a lot, how can you make sure that you eat that frog and take care of those glass ones so those rubber ones can keep bouncing? And be okay that the rubber ones are bouncing, right? Be okay with it. So the fourth thing I'll say is one of my favorites, and many of you are going to go, what? But it's buying back your time. And buying back your time doesn't necessarily have to have a big price tag on it. But I will tell you, it goes kind of back to that dollars per hour filter. Like, is this making me money? Is this something that is bringing value to my business? Is this bringing value to my life? And if it isn't, how can I farm it out? Or what can I do to buy back more time to focus on those things in my business or my life that bring me money and bring me joy and bring me contentment, right? So I think the biggest thing for me is, even if it's a brand new stylist, buying back your time is enlisting your kids to label your lookbooks. I don't know about you, but I've spent over the past 7 years way too many hours putting stickers on back of a book, right? We know that it's crucial to have your information on there, but at the end of the day, it's not a high value activity. You could be booking a trunk show. You could be at a trunk show. So who could you farm out, right? Like, who could you have do lookbooks on the back of your lookbooks? I think other things is like childcare. If you're a stay-at-home mom, could you swap out with a girlfriend and she take your kids and you take her kids to give yourself a couple hours of quiet, right? Absolutely. There's all different ways that you can find those little pockets where you can be solely focused and intentional with what you're doing. I don't know if anybody knows this, but a lot of the grocery stores, you can send them your grocery list and they'll shop for you for free. So if anybody wants to raise their hand on here and say that they love grocery shopping, then please tell me like where the satisfaction is and how I can find that joyful place, because I hate grocery shopping. And so sending over a grocery list and having Brooke's raising her hand. She loves grocery shopping. I like it. We're going to have to talk about that later. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is you know what? If you sent your grocery list, that just bought you an hour back in your day, right? It could be silly things as like using the high school babysitter. When she comes over and puts your kids to bed, could she stuff some hostess packets for you, or put some lookbooks, or write some personal notes for you if you just have a little script for her? Like, she's already sitting there anyway. Like, could you put her to use, right? Little things like that make a big difference in giving you more time to focus on the things that are going to move the needle forward. I think the biggest thing I will tell you is that I always look at it with a filter. You hear buckets and filters from me a lot, but I think the biggest filter for me is if somebody can do it 85% as well as me. So AKA my kids labeling a lookbook may not be in the right place and it may not look as pretty as when I do it. But guess what? That bought me back 30 minutes of my day or an hour of my day. It's, stuffing envelopes. It's all those things that don't require your cute face to make it happen. Farm it off. Figure out, enlist the hub, enlist your mom, make it fun, grab a glass of wine, right? But look at all those things in your life that are taking, I don't want to say time sucks, they're important, but things that are taking time away from those high value activities, and put it through that dollars per hour filter. Can somebody do it 85% as good as you? Number 5 is my favorite. Be ahead of the 8 ball. Right? Be ahead of the 8 ball. We have just as many hours in the day as Beyonce. So how does Beyonce make it happen? Her hair look pretty and she dances a jig at the Super Bowl. It's because she's ahead of the 8 ball. She's ahead of the 8 ball. And what does that mean? That means that if you have kids, pack those lunches the night before, stick them in the fridge, put the cold pack in the morning and send them on their way. What are all those things that you can do to buy back a few minutes, whether it's in your morning, whether it's in your evening? It could be things as simple as, going back and saying, making your meals on Sundays. I see all these people that just absolutely inspire me with their little mason jars and these salads that are pre-stacked and beautiful and dressings and all of the stuff. And I'm like, gosh, that would be such a great thing to do as a family on a Sunday afternoon. What if we made or prepped most of our meals for the whole week? So then on Tuesday night, I can, have dinner with the kids and shower. And then by 8 to 9 o'clock, I can focus on my business for an hour, right? There's so many different things that you can do ahead of time and be more proactive instead of reactive. So look at your life, right? Look at where you spend your time in a 24-hour period and figure out what are things that I can buy back and do in, a time blocking mechanism where maybe it's okay, I'm on Sundays, I'm going to get everything done. I'm going to get everything prepped that I need for the week. If it's meals, if it's errands, it's everything you need. I'm going to prep my list for all my booking calls. I'm going to get, my trunk show invites done. And then each day you're really focusing on those high value activities. One of my favorite things to do of being ahead of the 8 ball is nightly. And I'm not kidding. This is like routine for me for probably 10 years. I've done this since I've been working, is that I do a brain dump every night. And I'll show you, it's not anything, this is totally off the grid. So hold on. But this is totally nothing fancy, right? This is actually my LinkedIn moleskin, but literally each night I write a dump, and I dump out corporate, I dump out Stella, and I dump out personal. And guess what? Some things get crossed off the list, some things don't. And guess what happens when they don't get crossed off the list? Those are the rubber ones. They're going to bounce back to the next day. But every night I sit there and make 3 lists. And the reason I do that is because I don't know about you, but I have the best ideas when I'm in the shower or I'm in the car, and I can't technically write it down, or I can't think about it. And it could be, oh my gosh, you haven't had a sponsoring conversation with Katie, or Sarah would be such a great hostess, or did you buy dog food? So whatever those things are, I have to dump them out. And so that little handy notebook follows me everywhere. And every night I sit there and make a list the night before, and I call it my brain dump. I get everything out. It could be as trivial as like making an eye appointment to, did you book the vacation? Are you registered for Hoopla? It never looks the same, which is kind of exciting. And sometimes I actually think maybe I'll go back and flip through them someday. But it's something that's a great practice for you. And what I think it does too is it helps you sleep, right? It helps you clear your mind because you know everything that you need to get accomplished the next day. And that's important, right? Because we only have so many hours. So what are we going to focus on? Okay, a couple other tactical things around Stella and Dot. One of my biggest things about being ahead of the 8 ball is going into control at your trunk show. So when you do have a trunk show, and going back to those dollars per hour that we're making, what if you challenge yourself to walk into that 7 o'clock trunk show 10 minutes before and walk out of that trunk show at an hour and a half, an hour and 40 later, right? There's no reason that you have to be there at 2 hours, 2+ hours, unless it's your BFF and you're having a glass of wine and enjoying yourself. So what if you challenge yourself to say, like, I'm going to be in control. I'm going to deliver my group hello. I'm going to style a guest. I'm not going to be pushy. I'm going to step back. But what if I actually walked out of that trunk show in less than 2 hours instead of 3? Guess what? Your dollars per hour just increased, right? So being efficient, even at times it's like in your trunk show, right? I think the other thing too is focusing on how you can really prioritize your time too, right? So as you get deeper into your business, so whether you are somebody who's brand new or whether you're somebody who's been around for a while, is looking and saying like, okay, I need to focus on my personal business. Now I need to focus on my team, and really time blocking that into categories and putting in a time frame around that. And then let's go to Facebook, right? Let's be honest, Facebook does not allow you to be ahead of the 8 ball. It actually pushes you further into the bottom of the pool table. So it's not something that isn't by any means a HVAC, right? But how can you utilize you guys are throwing me off in this chat because I have this light that blinks every time, and I'm like, can they hear me? But I love the tips. Hello Fresh. Okay, this is good. This is time management 101 right now. So turning off Facebook, right? Getting on and giving yourself a time frame, saying, okay, in the morning, I'm going to get on from 8 to 8:30 and check things. And then in the afternoon from 5 to 5:30, and then get off, right? It's making sure, if you're one of those still people that have notifications on your phone, when you get a that come as an email to your phone or pop up on your phone, turn them off. It is a distraction, right? Like, we all get sucked into social media. So how can you prioritize that? You can give yourself windows to allow yourself to be in that. And then the rest of the time, you're not on there. There's nothing that's going to change, right? Maybe it's 1 time a day, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, but be restricted to it. Be conformed by it. And I promise you, you will see that you will be so much more productive in all aspects of your life. And then number 6 is to maximize those high value activities, right? What does that look like? So listening to training calls, being on the Zoom right now, like y'all are doing, investing in yourself, investing in your business. Find a pacing partner, find a partner in crime, find somebody to be that person to help you grow. leveraging your upline, right? Those are all HVACs. And I think those are so super crucial. I think the other thing is looking at everybody that you meet as an opportunity, new, old friends, new friends, current friends, but saying at the end of the day, when I meet somebody, they're going to fall into a bucket. Is that a potential hostess? Is that a potential stylist? Or is that a potential customer, right? Oh, she may never host a trunk show, but I know she's going to be a great customer. Or, oh, she just left her corporate job and she's staying at home and she's kind of bored. She's a potential stylist. So it's kind of that good profiling, and everybody you meet falls into one of those buckets. I think using your trunk show as the vehicle to grow your business is maximizing that HVAC, right? Going into that trunk show knowing that you're not walking away until you've booked another trunk show and you've met a potential stylist, or even booked that hostess for another trunk show the next season. So utilizing the time away from your family, the time away from your job, the time away from, Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder on Thursday nights is really smart. So make the most of it. Be present, right? Be intentional. And then number 7, extremely important, take time for yourself, right? Like, we're all talking about how much we have on our plate and how much is going on, how hard sometimes this business is to turn off because we love it so much. But take time. Whether it's somebody that loves to work out. I am really trying hard to be better at that. But, if you're someone that loves to work out, take that 30, 45 minutes, an hour for yourself. Maybe it's, for me, I love a massage. So twice a month on Thursdays at 9 a.m., if you want to know where I'm at, I'm getting a massage. And it's that small investment I make back in myself that really fills my cup, right? It gets me refueled and ready to go. And I look forward to it. Maybe it's that you have a no work day. So maybe it's on Fridays that you schedule a fun lunch with friends and you take a break and, from everything you have going on. Maybe it's Wondering Wednesdays where maybe you're not on the computer and doing stuff, but you're out, at the mall and browsing or shopping and passing out lit books and things like that. And I think sometimes it's reading a book like Eat That Frog, or one I'll talk about later called The Happiness Advantage, or Hands-Free Mama. It's reading. It's reading through articles. It's investing back in yourself, and giving yourself a break. It goes back to that we can do anything, but not everything, and saying, like, there's going to be days like this. Our mama told us, right? There's going to be days like this, and we're only human. And knowing that tomorrow's a new day, right? It's the whole, I don't know if you've ever seen the e-card, some card that says that's what coffee and wine are there for. Like, coffee's a, hey, go get them. We got this. And wine's a slap you on the ass and say, hey, we'll give it a try tomorrow. Good day, And I think that's the thing, is you got to give yourself a break without a doubt. And then be happy. Find joy. And if whatever you're doing isn't giving you joy, then stop doing it immediately. It's crazy. You have to. So there's a book called The Happiness Advantage too. It's a little bit longer read than Eat That Frog, but it is something that I absolutely adore. And it really is about finding that joy. And some days aren't joyful. Some days are not. And some days are overly joyed, but finding that roller coaster and riding that middle ground is going to make it so worthwhile. So a couple little housekeeping, other fun ideas I have around time mastery. And then I know we got about 12 minutes, so I will open it up to any questions or specifics. But I always get the question of, like, your tracking systems, like, it sounds so silly, as like productivity stuff. Like, how do you, keep track of your life, and what do you do? So the Wenzel world is 100% digital. We all operate off iCal. Every member of the family has an iCal. It's all shared between my phone and Brent's phone. We have my work stuff on there, my trunk shows on there. So that way everybody knows what's going on. But I will tell you, and I'm just going to show firsthand because it's easier, I do like a good paper when I'm booking and I'm mapping out the world. So I have like one of like the $10 sugar paper calendars from Target, and I do this every year, where I go in and I write out everything that we have going on. And then that way, as I'm having booking conversations, then I can be able to go in and, see the month at a view, which is really helpful. So that's one of my paper things that I absolutely love. I showed you guys I don't know where it went, my brain dump. Like, so it's just a scrappy notebook, nothing fancy, but that's how I keep track of my to-dos. I've tried things such as there's apps called Things, there's the notes on your iCal or your iPhone. There's BusyCal, there's all kinds of different things. But I think for me, there's something about writing it down that ingrains it into my mind and then having to reread it when I didn't do it again and again and again. And then all of a sudden I realized, I got to get that done. That's becoming the last fall. And then when it comes to keeping track of my booking, I shared this last week. So the girls that were on the call, I apologize, but literally I'm scrappy. And 7 years later, this has like become my norm. And I did upgrade Brooke, don't worry, to the Valentine's February one. But I use a tracker that home office gives us every month. And what I do is basically write in the names of the people that I'm reaching out to. And I make little notes of whether it's a virtual trunk show or whether it's an in-person trunk show or a sponsoring conversation, or if they said like April, or, you know, any notes like around that person's name. And then at the beginning of each month, I print out the new one and I start over, right? So there's people crossed off, there's people added, and it's really nothing fancy, but it stays with me in the red notebook, right? So they all go hand in hand. So that's how I keep track of who I'm reaching out to, who I'm booking with, what I'm doing, and it's nothing exciting whatsoever, but it works. Okay, so then the second thing I'll say is taxes, expenses. Like I get that question all the time. It's like the dirty thought that nobody wants to talk about, but it's super important. So I'll tell you the two best tips I have for expenses is have a business checking account. Set up your little blue card to move or automatically transfer your money to a business checking account. And the reason is that way all of the money is funneled into one account. You can use that debit card from the business checking account to buy your stamps or buy your look books or pay for your stuff. And it's kind of one pool of money. And then the other thing is when I would say have a business credit card, right? So maybe it's a credit card you already have, but you only do your business transactions on it. So travel, bigger expenses, whatever that looks like. If you keep it on those two cards, then you can always pull up the account history. So you'll know like where you spent, what you did, and it doesn't interfere with your personal accounts, and it keeps it really streamlined and clean, which is really easy when you are preparing your taxes. So that's my other one. And then when you feel like you're ready, get the business savings account and then pay yourself every month taxes. So then at the end of the year, when you have to pay your taxes, then you've already paid yourself all year. You didn't have to pay it to Uncle Sam. You were in the interest off it and you kept it in there. So it's not a pretty time mastery tip whatsoever, but a useful one. And then the last thing I'll say is two things about organization of your jewelry, right? And the trunk show. And people are always like, how do you store your jewelry? Like, what's the most efficient thing? And there's no rhyme or reason that goes to it, but my jewelry lives in the trays. My jewelry stays in the trays, stacked up in my totes or in my neck forms have a giant rubber band around it. And they stay in the side pocket of my blue roller bag. My look books stay in the top. And literally when I leave a trunk show, I put all of it back to where I wanted it. And that way, when I go to the next show, it's all there again. And so I'm not spending my time organizing my display like I did for years. Such not HVAC, let's be honest. And so I literally will make sure before a trunk show, when I'm setting everything up, it's all situated. And then after a trunk show, I put it all back and I store it and it's right there. And then I'll go, pull something out to put on and things like that. And then the last one I'll say is so fun, but do you have a trunk show uniform? Do you have the uniform that you wear to your trunk show? And everyone's like, do I need to buy that? Where do I get that at? Is that in the Stella print shop? No, a trunk show uniform is like 2 or 3 shirts, 2 or 3 outfits, whatever that looks like for you. For me, I'm a blazer and t-shirt girl. So what do those look like? And there's 2 or 3 of them that I wear. And so when I'm getting ready for a trunk show, I never have to sit there and go, what am I going to wear? And what jewelry is going to go with this? I have 3 outfits that are mapped out, and those are my go-to outfits. So if one's at the dry cleaner or one's in the wash, then I have 2 other ones. It's buying back your time of staying in your closet going, well, what should I do? What should I wear? So needless to say, lots of information, hopefully helpful. If you're muted, please unmute yourself and ask away. We got about 5 minutes, and I'd love to answer any questions or share any other thoughts or insight that I can around my favorite topic of buying back our time and having hours like Beyonce and a butt like her too. But anything?
Hi there, it's Amy. It's Amy Norwood. Can you hear
Hi,
me?
Amy Norwood.
Hi, everyone. Hey, I have a question for you. We're newbies, and I'm curious, buying back your time when you first started this business, anybody out there, what were some things that you wish you knew when you started that you know now after running your business for a while?
That's a great question. Courtney, I'm going to put you on the spot because I know you've been around this rodeo a long time with me too. Jody, you as well. A tip from each of you. Because the Norwood gets to hear my voice all the time, so share something else.
I would say that I wish I would have known how organically easy it is to make connections and make people if you're just your real self. You're authentic and you connect with people just the way that you really like to connect with them. And I never leave a trunk show without some new friends. And so it makes it easy when it's time for me to rebook. So
That's a great tip. Did you hear that, Amy?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jody?
Hey, okay, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
I mean, I think as far as buying back your time, I think what you said about the babysitter thing is huge because for any of us that have kids, summertime can be really hard. And there's different phases of life where times are, you don't have as much time or you're preoccupied, you're distracted. So I think using the babysitter or anyone who can help you with the lookbook, stickers, that kind of thing. It's you don't even have to pay someone to do that. You can just ask for help. Just ask for help from your boyfriend or your husband or whoever and just get things done faster.
No,
Easier.
I agree. No, you're spot on for sure. Thanks, Jody. Amanda Embry, are you on the call? I saw your name. I'm putting you on the spot.
It's me, and I just logged out.
You're there. I love it. You're like, no, it's actually not Amanda. It's Ashley.
Callie texted me. She was like, "Oh," and so I logged out, but I didn't want to leave the call. So
That's okay. That's okay. I like it. Good to see you. Is Callie on? Callie, are you on?
Yeah.
I'm here. Can you not see me?
Now I can. Okay, so Amy and Ava are new stylists on my team, and so you've been around the block for a while. So what do you wish that you knew back then that you know now?
I wish I probably would have worried less about what my display looked like and how much jewelry I had because I stressed so much about that. And I wish I would have just gone out and booked more trunk shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I was worrying about non-essential things that were not going to grow my business. Instead of getting out there, meeting people, talking about the business, I was stressed about organizing my display, what it was going to look like, and trying to make it cute, but not realizing this. It doesn't matter if it looks cute if you don't have any people to shop it. So I should have spent more time reaching out, not being worried about that kind of stuff.
Amen. I love it.
FYI, Ava and I are sitting on the floor right now organizing our jewelry.
Sorry.
True.
Not a high value activity.
Not a high dollar
I think
activity.
it's awesome.
Not a high dollar.
We're giggling our asses off right now. It's hilarious.
Well, good. All right, friends, we got less than a minute left on this Zoom conferencing thing, but hopefully this is helpful. I will post the playback for you guys for those need to share with their teams, and go shake it like Beyonce. You can make it happen. Remember, it's an evolution of time mastery. Thanks, girls. Have a great night.
Thanks, Kelly.